Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard 8th edition major leak video. Today guys we're going through some more of the troops, but we're also getting our first look at fast attack choices in 8th edition. And all I can say is this page is an absolute goldmine. It's absolutely perfect for what we are going to be using in 8th edition. It's just all good news here, guys. All good news. So, with the death of platoons, I know there's a lot of you out there which are lamenting the death of platoons, and I'm with you there, guys. You know, I feel it too, brother. But as I've been saying throughout all these videos, the Emperor giveth and the Emperor taketh away. The Emperor has taken away our platoons, but he has given us independent conscript squads as a troop choice. Praise be to the Emperor, guys. I can now fulfill my lifelong dream of a pure conscript army. And the best part about it, it will actually probably be really effective. It will probably be really effective, because if I just take a brigade and fill it with as many conscripts as I can possibly take, and then just back that up with commissars and orders, I've got an army which is going to be looking like 400, 500 man strong easily at 2,000 points. Because guys, I've been putting out some feelers into the tournament community. People are saying that 2,000 points is going to be the new tournament standard. 2,000 points is going to be the new baseline. It was 1,500, then it was 1,850. Now we're looking at 2,000 points. At least that's what my tournament guys are saying. So, let's get into conscripts straight away. Let's just bathe in the conscripts. So, movement 6 inches, great. Weapon skill 5, ballistic skill 5. Well, it is what it is, guys. Essentially, conscripts are now better at shooting than they are in close combat. Back in 7th edition, conscripts had a weapon skill of 2, and in that system, it meant that they were actually able to hit most enemies on a 4+, and it was only really good dedicated close combat armies that they'd struggle to hit on a 5+. Now, conscripts hit as well as they shoot, basically. So, close combat conscripts are not really a thing anymore. You're just going to want to shoot people to death a lot of the time. Strength 3, toughness 3, of course. Wounds 1, attacks 1, of course. Leadership 4. So unless you have a commissar babysitting these guys, they are going to die in droves. Save 5+. Okay. They come with lasgun and frag grenades. They don't get any additional equipment choices. They are exactly as you see them. They have remained 3 points per model. So, some of you might be saying, what is the point in taking conscripts? I mean, regular guardsmen are 4 points a model. You get so much extra shit for that 1 point. Why would you ever take conscripts? Well, with the death of platoons and with the death of infantry blobs, we now need conscripts to fulfill our blobbing desires and to help bulk up our numbers. So conscripts are really powerful. They're really necessary as well, because they give you that ability to fill your troop choices with cheap infantry, and you can now, and it'll help us meet those brigade detachments that we want, because whilst you can take lots and lots of regular infantry squads, and I would encourage you to do that. If you fill out a brigade with just infantry squads, that's only 120 infantry. And that's not enough. You need, good. Well, it's not enough for a pure infantry army, is all I'm saying. For a pure infantry army, we need at least 200 models. And that's what conscripts help us to do. And to be fair, when we actually think about this, that's what conscripts have always done. And to be fair, when we think about it, how many regular infantry squads did one actually take? I mean, I'm just speaking for myself personally. But what I tended to do would take 2 blobs of 40 infantry and 2 blobs of 40 conscripts. Back that up with some tanks. That's what I'd do at about 2,000 points. And, less than 2,000 points, I'd drop a blob of conscripts and I'd have 3 blobs. Roughly. That was my mixed army. So, platoons have gone the way of the dodo. And that is sad. And, it makes it less unique. But the way we play as Guard hasn't changed all that much. It hasn't. We can still take lots and lots of infantry squads. We can still take big blobs of conscripts. We can still take plenty of officers. We have the choice of up to 8 elite choices. That's up to 8 junior officers. We have 5 HQ slots. That's 5 company commanders. We can still play the way we want to play, guys. So that's the message I want to get across with these conscripts, okay? Those of you that are worried, do not worry. Because, honestly, you can still play exactly the same way. You can still do it. Maybe you won't be able to take blobs of pure infantry. Maybe there's going to be that sort of mixture of blob and MSU. But that's still good. And for those of you that are concerned about, well, we can't blob our infantry, so we're going to struggle to get out as many orders as we, with order efficiency. It's not a problem anymore because we have access to really cheap company commanders which do 2 orders apiece. We're okay. If previously you would take 4 blobs and you take 2 company command squads, and that would give you an order for each squad. Now you can take 8 basic infantry squads, 2 mobs of conscripts, 5 company commanders, and you've still got an order for every squad before you even take into account junior officers. So guys, please trust me. I know some of you are going to have your concerns. I know some of you are going to have your salt ready, your salt and vinegar ready, but please trust me. I've cast my eye over this, and my initial first impressions is 1, we can still play how we want to play, and 2, these are generally buffs for the Guard infantry. Right, let's get on to the big news of the day, even bigger news I'd say, which is Rough Riders. Rough Riders are now fucking awesome. I'm just going to say it, Rough Riders are now beastie. I can't see why you wouldn't want to take them. Honestly, I can't. Rough Riders are just so damn points efficient now. I'm just getting the points up now, but if we have a look at the stats, they are no longer just guardsmen on horses. They have a proper battlefield role to play, and they are going to be useful on both the offense and the defense. So let's take a look at what we get. So we get movement 10. Great. Straight off the bat, we've got a decent movement value. Awesome. Can't complain about that. Weapon skill 4 plus ballistic skill 4 plus. Okay. Yep, they're still just humans at the end of the day. Strength and toughness 3. Okay, so I know a lot of you were hoping for toughness 4. We haven't got that, unfortunately, but the good thing is if you look at the wounds, right? We have 2 wounds per Rough Rider now. That's a huge buff, guys. That's a huge, huge buff. Their attacks 1 each, leadership 6, whatever, save 5 plus. Okay. Each model is armed with a las pistol and a chainsword and a hunting lance and frag grenades, and they have a purebred steed which attacks with trampling hooves. Wow, wow, wow. Let's take a look at what all that means. So we know what the las pistol and the plasma pistol and the chainsword do. Let's take a look at the new hunting lance. So the hunting lance adds +2 to our strength, which is fine. It's AP -2, so that's good. But it's also kind of bleh. Okay. Because on the one hand, we can use hunting lances against pretty much anything we want now, without the risk of them just, being rubbish, you know, Hunting Lancers versus Terminators being a joke. On the other hand, it does mean that Marines are still getting a 5+ save. Which is a bit, you know, bit rubbish. However, each Hunting Lancer's D3 damage, which is cool as fuck. But the biggest news is that they are no longer one use only. That is right, guys. Hunting Lances are now good for every single charge that you do. So they're no longer just one-hit wonders. So your Hunting Lances, they come in, you know, if you've got 5 or 6, if you've got about 10 Rough Riders, you're going to hit with about half. And then you're going to wound with a few, with about, you know, about 3, and then you're going to kill a couple of Spaces with them. They're pretty good, but I wouldn't really be hunting infantry with these guys. Okay? Ironically, I'd be hunting monstrous creatures with them. Because let's take a look at sort of, or should I say sort of monstrous infantry, medium vehicles and medium to and heavy infantry. That's what I'd go for. So if we take a look at, you know, potentially charging these into a bunch of light transports. These guys are transport hunters. Think about this. You charge in with your 10 guys. You do your 3 wounds, as we've already established, essentially. But then each one of those wounds is going to do 2 wounds. So that's actually 6 wounds. That's pretty good. That's actually enough to finish off and cripple most enemy transports. If you've got rhinos that are just bumper carring into you every single turn, orc trucks that are just bumper carring into you every single turn, these guys are a decent choice for getting the job done. So they're pretty good. You know, they're not absolutely outstanding amazing, but they haven't been nerfed either. They're pretty average. The trampling hooves is an interesting one. If we take a look down, after a model on this mount makes its close combat attack, you can attack with its mount, make 1 additional attack using this weapon profile. So essentially, guys, after you've, so you get this extra attack anyway, but imagine after you've charged. Each guy's got a chain sword, so each guy's got 2 attacks. Plus he has the trampling hooves attack, which means each Rough Rider has 3 attacks when using its chain swords of its hunting lance. That actually gives these guys the ability to chop through hordes really, really quickly. I mean, imagine you're facing down, like, you know, imagine you've used your hunting lances 1 turn, you've finished off this truck, right? You've got a bunch of orc boys, like 10 or so orc boys, messing around, getting in your face. You could turn around and charge them again with these guys, and there's actually a viable sort of something to be said for using your chainswords, because you don't really need the AP -2 or the D3 damage. So you rip out a chainsword, you start hacking people up with these. It's 30 attacks in total from a 10-man squad. You're going to hit with 15, you're going to wound with sort of, you know, about 5 or 6 of them. And that's pretty much 5 or 6 dead orcs. That guts a squad. Now, if you charge with your hunting lances, you only hit with 5. And then, yeah, you're going to wound, but you're only going to do about 3 wounds. Again, because wounding on 3s. So your hunting lances are good for popping transports, and then you rip out your chainswords and you use your trampling hooves and you start going to town on the infantry that's on the inside. That seems like a good idea. So Rough Riders aren't absolutely balls to the wall, holy shit, you know, Xbox huge, fucking amazing. But they are pretty diverse now. I would not have an issue with sending Rough Riders into pretty much any target in the game now. They're going to do okay against most things. So that's really important to remember. But I think you've got to manage your expectations. Don't expect Rough Riders to sweep entire squads in one go. They're just not going to do that. But they're quite good at charging into a unit, and then if the enemy doesn't fall back, you know, if they want to use their lances, the enemy doesn't fall back, they're kind of okay at going into the grind now. Those 2 wounds allows them to, and having 3 attacks each basically, allows them to get into a bit of a grind fest with a lot of enemy infantry, which is good. So they can do multiple things. The Rough Rider Sergeant may take a plasma pistol instead with the new and improved 5-point plasma pistol. I think that's a good idea. The Rough Rider Sergeant may replace their chainsword with the Power Axe, Power Lance, Power Maul, or Power Sword. Power Lance is an interesting one. Not seen this one before. It gives you +2 strength, -1 AP, 1 attack. So I don't really see what the difference between a Power Lance and a Power Maul is. I'm going to be honest, I think that's just for modelling purposes. I can't see any reason why you'd take the Power Lance over the Power Maul. There you go. Not sure about that, guys. Ability. Oh, instead of Hunter Lances, up to 2 Rough Riders may be equipped with items from the Ashman Town special weapon list. This is actually not the worst idea, because what you could do is, again, we've talked about this, you could, it almost gives you the best of both worlds, because you've changed your hunting lance in, and actually take a couple of melter guns, and the sergeant with the plasma pistol. You use the plasma pistol and the melter guns to pop open an enemy transport, and then you charge in, and you've got, 8 guys with hunting lances, but then you've also got a bunch of guys with chainsaws as well, just add into the extra attacks. Or you go, everyone gets chainsaws out and starts tearing into that infantry, depending on what kind of infantry it is. So, yeah, Rough Riders have got a lot of diversity now. They're actually a fast, legitimate threat. The only issue I can see is I don't think they can benefit from orders, which kind of sucks. Yeah, Rough Riders cannot benefit from orders. So, not sure how you want to... Not sure what that means for them. It's a shame. But I could... Pardon me. But even without orders, I can definitely see Rough Riders being a good threat. Now, Rough Riders have a really, really interesting ability, which essentially allows them to outflank. They've got an ability called Flanking Maneuvers. And what this ability allows them to do is, during deployment, you can set up this unit riding around the flanks instead of placing it on the battlefield. At the end of any of your movement phases, the unit can join the battle. Set it up so all models in the unit are within 7 inches of a battlefield edge of your choice and more than 9 inches away from an enemy model. Okay, guys. Big deal. Outflank is no longer randomised. At the very least, outflank with Rough Riders is no longer randomised. As far as I can see, Rough Riders are one of the very few units in our army that gives us access to outflank now. And what this is just another feather in the cap of Rough Riders. Okay, because I want to be absolutely clear, Rough Riders are not an OP unit. They're not OP at all. I mean, looking at the points for them, they are 8 points a model, but you've got to pay for that hunting lance, so that's 2 points. So they are still 10 points a model, I believe. Yeah, they're still 10 points a model, but they've gained an extra wound, which is, pretty good. What Rough Riders can now act as in 2 vital roles. Okay, they can be used to counter-attack, because their movement allows them to, move to the front lines easily. They can be used to counterattack, and they can be used for backfield hunting. I wouldn't necessarily use them for an all-out assault as a main offensive unit, but I would definitely use them to hunt down weaker units. I really feel like that's their specialty. So imagine you have your 2 or 3 lines of guardsmen, as we've sort of discussed in previous videos. Imagine your front line starts to buckle or even break. What you can do is you can move your Rough Riders forward into a good counter-attacking position. Then you start shooting the shit out of the enemy. Now you shoot the shit out of the enemy and you weaken him and then your Rough Riders go in and clear them off. And now they can do that multiple times. So if the Rough Riders are facing down, let's say a squad of enemy Terminators jumps into the fray, and they start making a mess of one of your conscript blobs. You pull back with that conscript blob. You use the order, get back in the fight to keep them shooting. You start pouring firepower in from other areas. You bring the Terminators down from, let's say, a 5-man squad to a 3-man squad, and then you charge the Rough Riders in, and the Rough Riders bring those Termies down to a 4+ save, and they're probably going to get wiped out by each hunting lance. You've got 10 Rough Riders going against 3 Terminators. Let's do the maths on this. You're going to hit with 5 of your attacks. You're going to wound with 3 of them. You get... My mistake. You're going to hit with 6 of them because of the Rough Rider Sergeant's got an extra attack. My mistake. So you're going to hit with 6 of them. You're going to wound with 4 of them. The Termies are going to save 2 of them because on a 4+ save. And then you're going to kill 2 Terminators. Bam. That's before you even factor in... That's what the results are going to be. And then the Termie, he is going to strike back, but he's probably not going to do all that much damage to you because he's going to be a bit of a grind after that. Is what I'm saying. So your Rough Riders can go in there and finish off an enemy unit. Maybe you need to be a little bit lucky. And this is what I'm sort of saying. Rough Riders aren't balls to the wall amazing, but they are pretty good. They're good for counter-attacking. But I wouldn't be sending them into full 10-man squads. I wouldn't be doing that, guys. I'd be sending them into, unless it's something like Orcs, in which they can start ripping the chainswords out and going to town on them. I wouldn't send them into full 10-man squads. I'd send them into weaker, 3 or 4 model squads. Or transports, obviously. And against backfield units, that goes without saying. You outflank a squad of 10 of these guys. You start outflanking a squad of 10 of these guys. You start going like sniper scout hunting. Imagine the enemies using a bunch of sniper scouts to pick off your commissars and officers. And it's really fucking your battle lines up. You get a squad of these guys. Turn 1 movement phase. Turn 2 movement phase. You bring them in. You start clearing out the backfield of snipers. That's what you're going to have to do. So, Rough Riders are pretty good, but they're not amazing. I can see, but they're not completely useless like they currently are. That ability to outflank, really, really important. Now, Scout Sentinels are the last thing I want to talk about. Scout Sentinels are really, really interesting. They have some disadvantages, but they are pretty... Pardon me, they are pretty good. So, each Scout Sentinel costs 35 points. But you've got to pay for the multi-laser. The multi-laser costs 10 points. So each Scout Sentinel is now 45 points. So they have had a 10-point price increase, guys. So that's, that's kind of sad. Let's take a look at what weapons... let's look at the stats first. So, 9-inch movement, that makes Scout Sentinels... They might have had a 10-point increase, but they can move an additional 3 inches now. That's pretty tasty. Weapon skill, ballistic skill 4+. Strength and toughness of 5. Hey, not bad. Not bad, guys. Not absolutely amazing. It does mean a lot of small arms are going to be pretty effective against them. But... they've got 6 wounds. I think Scout Sentinels are going to be pretty good. They've got a 4+ save, so that alleviates a lot of worries we were having, guys. Nearly every guard vehicle has a 4+ or a 3+ save. So there's none of this worry about Scout Sentinels having the same armor as flak armor. So thank God for that, eh? So, if we take a look at the weapons, autocannon, we know about that. Heavy flamer, we know about that. Hunter killer missile, interesting. It's like a crack missile, but it does D6 shots, D6 damage instead of D3, which is good. Multi-laser is 36 range, heavy 3, strength 6. But the biggest and most interesting thing here, guys, is the Sentinel chainsaw. So every Sentinel pack comes with this little chainsaw thing you can stick on the front of it. And I've put them on because I thought they looked cool. Well, now they actually do something. Basically, if you upgrade your Sentinel to have a chainsaw, it just very simply gives it makes your Sentinel AP -1. That's really cool. If I look at Sentinel chainsaws, they only cost 2 points each. That's pretty good. You know, that's a buff right there. So if we take a look at what we've got so far, how have Scout Sentinels been buffed? Well, they've got an extra 3-inch movement. They've essentially got 4 more hull points, which is pretty good. They've got a 4+ save, which is, you know, pretty average. The multi-laser is so-so. And the Sentinel chainsaw is a nice little buff. So overall, I would say it is worth the extra 10 points we're now paying. Now, what you can do is Sentinels come. What we've got to remember is, I'm just having a look here. Sentinels come with smoke launchers now. Now, I don't think Sentinels came with smoke launchers before. So that's really, really interesting, guys. Sentinels can now, instead of shooting, can pop smoke and it subtracts -1 from all hit rolls for ranged weapons. That's pretty good. But the big rule here is scout vehicle. At the start of the first battle round, but before the first turn begins, you can move this unit up to 9 inches. It cannot end this move within 9 inches of enemy models. If both players have units that can do this, the player who is taking the first turn moves their units first. So, that's a bit of a nerf. So, Scout Sentinels have lost outflank. Can't really see where you would use this. Can't really see where you'd use this. I mean, it does allow you to strategically redeploy, but I just don't know, guys. I just don't know. I mean, I'm looking at this now. I'm looking at Armor Sentinels, which is also on the next page. Armor Sentinels, I believe, are 5 points more expensive. Yeah, they are. I can't see many reasons to take Scout Sentinels instead. A little spoiler for you guys. Armor Sentinels have got 1 less inch movement, but they have an extra save. They've got a 3+ save. Really can't see much reason to take Scout Sentinels now, guys. I can see many reasons to take Armored Sentinels. You might as well pay that 5-point upgrade. But unfortunately, I can't really see much point in taking Scout Sentinels. Armored Sentinels do everything the same, but better. So that's a shame. However, for those of you sort of lamenting the loss of the Scout Sentinel, I'm just going to remind you, no one on this earth, no opponent I've ever come across even knows the difference between a Scout Sentinel and an Armored Sentinel. So take whichever one you want, really. It's a 5-point difference. I personally, if I'm taking Sentinels now, I'm taking, unless it's just to fulfill the minimum requirements of a brigade, and if that's the case, then I'll take Scout Sentinels just to save that 5 points. But otherwise, if you're a Sentinel lover, Armor Sentinels are where you want to go. Now, one thing I want to mention before I finish this video, is Sentinels now, if you look at all those weapons, they're all heavy weapons. Which means if you move and shoot with a Sentinel, it's -1 to hit. So your Sentinels will be hitting on 5+ with their weapons if they move. So that's a real nerf. But how I would see Sentinels now is more of sort of really long range, durable weapon platforms. And also as kind of tough counter-attacking units. So while Sentinels don't get a lot of attacks each, if your opponent starts breaking through your front line, you can just wang some of these guys in, and they'll be good for eating Overwatch. They'll be really good for eating Overwatch, and they'll be quite good at they'll be quite good at just tanking damage. You know, they've got 6 wounds. That's their main job now, to tank damage. But overall, I would say Sentinels are still a solid choice. They're just not an amazing choice. But I would say again, they've been buffed in some ways. They're definitely more durable now, just with the amount of wounds they've got. They're definitely more durable, but they're definitely going to struggle to put out firepower. I mean, what you've got to ask yourself is this. This is what I'm going to sign off on. A Scout Sentinel with an autocannon costs 50 points. A heavy weapons team with 3 heavy bolters, and we've already discussed heavy bolters are just as good as autocannons in this edition. Heavy weapons team with 3 heavy bolters comes to 36 points. Both of those have got 6 wounds. Both of those, you know, that's the difference. You're paying 14 points more. You get an extra save and a bit of extra toughness, but a lot less firepower. So guys, just to summarise, Conscripts are great. Rough Riders are average. Scout Sentinels are kind of pointless. You might as well spend the extra 5 points going up to a Armor Sentinel. But looking at the Scout Sentinel as an individual unit, it has gained the ability to have smoke for free, and it has got a lot tougher. So tell me what you guys think. Are you guys, am I missing something about the Scout Sentinel? Is it actually fucking amazing? I'm just missing an obvious point. Please, please, please let me know. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.